And welcome back to Troll Time. I'm your host, Ivan D. Curtis, aka the Troll King. And this is a show where we talk sports, movies, or anything thought provoking. Today we'll be talking WNBA rookie talks, WNBA injuries, the playoff push because we're down to the home stretch, last night's game recap, previews of tonight's matchups, and of course anything that comes to mind. Have you been watching the Troll Time show? You know I don't do this alone. Got my right hand man with me. Hey Willie, what's going on with you?
Hey man, the dub never ceases to give us opportunities to talk about what's going on in the league. It's another week, so I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
No doubt, no doubt. A lot of things going on. Jumping right into it. Rookie of the year talks. Of course, we got Paige Becker, Sonia Citron, and me personally. It was mentioned the other day. I can't remember who said it on my post, and I apologize for that. I want to say it was my guy Steve that said, luckily Dominique Malonga didn't get minutes throughout the season because she definitely could have been in this conversation. Now, for me personally, I say that if the Washington makes the playoffs, I would personally give co-rookie of the years to Kiki Irfin and Sonia Citron. That's me personally. Two rookies in the starting lineup from the beginning to the end who are playing a pivotal role in them possibly making the playoffs. I get it. Paige Beckers probably has the better numbers individually, from the backcourt per se. But me personally, when you got two rookies that's leading a team that was not in the playoffs the year before, I don't see why they wouldn't be in contention to possibly have co-rookie of the year. Or I see a lot of people saying that the co-rookies will probably be Sonia Citron and Paige Beckers. But in my mind, I'm going with Sonia Citron leading the team to the playoffs. To me, of course, people talk about individual awards kind of group with a team success or lack thereof it. But in the same breath, if you really had to ask anybody who had the better roster at the beginning anyway, because Dallas has made moves, Paige Beckers had the better roster. Like, it's not even close. That's my argument for Sonia Citron and Kiki Irfan. But what's your thoughts, Willie?
It's interesting, man. It's music to my ears when you say Kiki, but she had an amazing year. And I'm gonna say this, man. A lot of these awards, whether it's Rookie of the Year, whether it's MVP, these are narrative-based awards. And a lot of times when you have narrative-based awards, the winner of said awards is decided before we even start the season. Whether it's MVP, a lot of times, we always talk about, is MVP going to the best player in the league, period, or the best player on the best team that's never won an MVP before, right? Like, so you have that. And then I know let's make it an NBA conversation. LeBron James won the Rookie of the Year when he came in, and Carmelo Anthony's team went to the playoffs in Denver. And there are a lot of people that say Carmelo was the Rookie of the Year. If we put it in NBA terms, this is similar to me, especially when you start looking at the fact that degree of difficulty has to matter when you talk about these awards, right? Paige is in a situation where she's the franchise player, giving the ball from day one. There is no other rookie on the team that she would have to split rookie reps with in terms of getting that shine to be the Rookie of the Year. In Washington, they got two of them. And the crazy part about it is they are both sharing that spotlight, and they are sharing that spotlight well. And it goes back to another conversation. Let's bring in what we were talking about with Chicago. The fact is, with Washington, Washington's developing a young guard that's skilled and a young big that's skilled, and they're doing it simultaneously. But again, when you're trying to develop two bigs at once, that their defensive rebounding is ahead of their offense, is going to be up and down and things of that nature. So that's the other thing with Washington as well. If you're going to have two rookies that are high profile, it would probably be best and history proves that out, whether you want to look at WNBA and NBA, it's probably best that you have a dog in the backcourt and a dog in the front court. And that's what we got going on in Washington, man. So I agree with what you're saying.
No, I got you. So in terms, who would you say is your WNBA Rookie of the Year at this point?
Man, if I had to be honest, for me, and I'm not saying this because I am a hashtag fight on USC fan. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that because I'm a Kiki Iria fan. Um, to me, I feel like she's the rookie of the year because a lot of times when you, especially when Shakira Austin is in the lineup, if you look at Kiki's numbers sometimes, Kiki will come out of a game 12, 13 points, and she'll do it in like on 5 shots, 6 shots, like, and her shot attempts will go up when Shakira is not playing. And that's what we saw in the last game. I think she went for her season high 23 and 12 or 23 and 13 or something of that nature. And also, Sonya also got off as well. So when I see that, sometimes it makes me think when you start talking about that degree of difficulty, sometimes when you start talking about having to do more with less in terms of shot attempts and things of that nature, I feel like Kiki is doing a lot sometimes with less when you start talking about Shakira Austin really emerging offensively. Sonya Citron doing what she's doing. And you add that to the fact that up until a few games ago, this was all going on as well with Brittany Sykes having a career year scoring wise as well. So I really like what Kiki is doing. But again, man, if Sonya comes out with it, I won't be upset with that either. And that's no disrespect to Paige at all. Paige is a great player, is great now, and will be greater later too.
Yeah, I mean, in the world of nothing but comparisons and that's the everyday talk and everything. I mean, it's funny because I find it when I try to think back like when I was a kid, like did we talk sports that we always do so much comparing. Like it was more about just saying I think my favorite player is better or anything like that. But it gets to the point now where we comparing players that's on the same team. And it's like it just seems so dragged out most of the time.
Right.
Talking WNBA injuries because it's been a lot of them, some key ones. Just running down the list. Jordan Canada is out. She's listed to be out at least 2 weeks with a hamstring injury for the Atlanta Dream. She has been playing really well. Unfortunate chain of events. For the Chicago Sky, Angel Reese is out, back, without a timetable to return at this point. Haley Van Lith and Ariel Atkins are day-to-day. They are game-time decisions tonight for tonight's game. Arike Agumbawale is day-to-day. Kate Martin is day-to-day. Got injured, back injury in the last game. So we'll be checking out for that. Caitlin Clark, of course, is out. Unfortunately, Sydney Colson and Ari McDonald is out for the remainder of the year. Sid with a torn left ACL, and Ari McDonald with a broken bone in her right foot. Cameron Brink has been listed day to day, but she has been playing limited minutes when she's returned. I guess it's saying that she had a left ankle injury in the Liberty game. So we'll keep an eye out on that, man. That's gonna suck if she, if that's worse than what it is. Nafisa Collier, ankle injury. She's been out, over a few weeks now. So we'll be paying attention. That estimated date of return for her is August 19th. Isabel Harrison, Brianna Stewart, and Niara Sabali is out. Stewie timetable to return is listed as August 28th. So they probably just resting her until playoffs and things of that nature. And last but not least, Shakira Austin for the Washington Mystics is day to day. Had a leg injury in last Wednesday's game against the Valkyries, so we'll keep an eye out for that. But everybody know I hate injuries, man. But it's a part of the game. And the one thing I wanted to bring up, hey Willie, because a lot of people have been talking about it, man, is equating injuries to the horrible officiating in the WNBA. Now, this is my take with the officiating. Could it be better? Yes. But also, they could call the perfect game and you would still have injuries. Like they don't negate every injury. I mean, if you watch as much women's basketball as we do, you'll notice that most injuries in women's game are non-contact related. A lot of the times, there's not any contact. Even if you watch the Jordan Cannon, you seen the grimace and everything before she even had any contact. It's just one of those things, and I mean, I don't like the officiating. I think it's lopsided. Either they call too much or they don't call anything, or they may, of course. Let's not be sports ignorant. When you playing on the road, you get home cooked. Like it's no secret. Like the home team tends to get the majority of the calls, and they get away with a lot of different things. That's been going on since any day and time in sports. I mean, if you've been watching, if you've been playing.
Just say you ain't played without saying you ain't played.
I mean, pretty much.
I ain't trying to pull people's cards, but OG, it is what it is, man. Like,
Yeah, I mean, but on the other hand, like my only thing is when you making a complaint about something, and of course if you have a favorite team, you can't be disgruntled when another team is getting advantages, but not be disgruntled when your team is getting the advantage. Like, I mean, it is what it is at that point. So I just wanted to bring that up. I'll get your thoughts, Willie. Like a lot of people, I know because sometimes you in and out on some of my posts but that was one of the conversations that people were having, particularly a lot of the Indiana Fever fans. And if you've been following me long enough, I am an Indiana Fever fan, but I'm not biased. Like I don't watch with a biased eye. But a lot of the complaints have been coming that way. And as I was talking to you offline, is that the Fever is not known for defense. That's not really their staple. Not yet. Like, not yet. It has been in spurts, but that's not. When you think of Indiana Fever basketball, you think of fast pace, high octane offense, a lot of movement, getting out in transition. But it's not known. You don't think defense. Not saying that they don't play it, but that's not the thing. So in terms, a lot of the other teams they do play a lot more grittier defense. Some of us, can be excessive. That's to anybody to be the judge, and it happens. But that's just not the style of play that the Fever play. I mean, so sometimes it just contrasts the styles, and styles make fights, and unfortunately, sometimes other teams are on the the non-beneficiary side of it, and that's pretty much what it is. But your thoughts, Willie, on the relation to bad officiating with the injuries in the WNBA.
again, man, just say you don't know without saying you don't know when you make these types of comments. Because to your point, and I said this even when Caitlin went out, that the officiating does not lead to a groin injury, right? Like that's has nothing to do with officiating. And I say that because, when you look at, and the thing about Indiana that you said in particular that's really said, and I want to say this, you know, 3/5 of their starting lineup, when you talk Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Hull, and all-star Leah Boston, all three of those players are agitators. All three of those players, they make their impact on the game by being physical with the opposition, creating contact with the opposition. And then when you add Caitlin to the mix when she comes back, in order for her to create space and get past people when she's trying to get downhill and get to the rim, because you wouldn't necessarily say that Caitlin Clark is a blur. She's playing next to a blur with Kelsey Mitchell. You wouldn't say Caitlin Clark is a blur. So what does she have to do when people get physical with her? She has to initiate contact. So the reality is when you are a team that relies so much offensively or defensively on creating contact with others, you become a hard team to officiate because now the officials have to say what's an offensive foul, what's a defensive foul because you are creating so much contact because that's what you got to do to get off. So I think when people watch the Fever in particular, they don't watch with a nuanced eye like that. Again, making an NBA reference, people used to always say that, no, let's not make that NBA reference. Let's keep it in the WNBA. Liz Cambage was the hardest player to officiate in the WNBA because with her size, people are hanging on her, but she's also creating contact too. So, what's a foul on Liz? What's a foul on the opposition? And I feel like, in particular, when you look at Indiana, they're in that boat because Aaliyah's physical. That's how Aaliyah gets off. Caitlin has to be physical, especially when she's not making 35-foot jumpers. And we know that Lexi and Sophie are agitators. So I just think that people don't look at that when they watch this game. And the other thing I'll say as it relates to the officiating too, we want it both ways. And you can't have it both ways. And you and I talk about this a lot. These women don't mess around on a nightly basis. They rock. They play every night, every possession. And we love that. And so when you play like that, it's going to be hotly contested for rebounds, loose balls, trying to establish position, all that, and it's going to be a lot of contact. In the NBA, we complain about they don't play hard enough. So, with that being said, sure, could the officiating improve? Yes. But also, I want to say as well, with the style of play in the W, it's going to be physical because these women don't take possessions off.
Yeah, like now, and if anybody, I mean, is listening, we're not saying that a lot of shit don't, doesn't get ignored because it does. Like I mean, in the inconsistency of calling the game. Now, the only thing I will say is that if it was a case where people were constantly getting hurt because of flagrant fouls and
Right.
different things of that nature, okay, I get it. You got a complete argument, and that is the one thing I will say is that though, like those type of plays that are unwarranted or that are unnecessary, I think they need to get a hang on a lot quicker and better than the other ones because you made a valid point when you think about because we're in the era of flopping. Everybody does it. Like everybody does it. Like I mean, and if you're out there flopping around, you make it hard, more difficult for officials to do their jobs, even the good ones. I mean, because they have to try to quickly decipher what's a foul, what's not a foul, and things of that nature. I mean, and then obviously we're going to challenges now. Something I'm getting sick of is we're going to challenges over possession of the ball, where sometimes it's like obvious, who touched it or whatever. Like we're wasting 5 to 10 minutes trying to figure out calls like that.
Right.
But when we're talking about, when we're talking about the physicality of the game and things of that nature, I think it's just something you're gonna have to live and die with human error. I mean, and what's determined by a review and things of that nature. I mean, it's just about as simple as that. We were talking about it earlier, even in conjunction with the Rookie of the Year, but right now we're just looking at the playoff standings right now. If it was to start today, you got Minnesota Lynx 27-5, New York Liberty 21-11, Atlanta Dream 20-11, Phoenix Mercury 19-12, Las Vegas Aces 18-14, Indiana Fever 18-15. Golden State Valkyries 16-15, and then you have the Seattle Storm at 16-16. If the playoffs were to start today, and that would be a heck of a lineup. But now the only thing we were talking about is that you still have the Washington Mystics and the Los Angeles Sparks. They lurking around the corner. I think it's going to be a fight for that eighth spot. Could be a fight potentially for the 7 and 8 spot. It's the way I see it. I mean, really, these teams right now sitting at the bottom, probably from 6 to 8, don't want to mess around. And with the games coming up, and games are about to start meaning more and more each and every game down this stretch. We get into that 10. Some teams have more games, but we getting around that 13 game mark left in the season. Obviously, Connecticut and Chicago, who ironically play tonight, but it looks like a battle for the number one pick.
Dallas, right?
Yeah, Dallas in that boat. Neither team has had hit the 10-win mark, although Dallas is at 9. And then you have Chicago Sky at 8, and then Connecticut at 5. But tough scene. But that's the current playoff push. The LA Sparks. I think they're gonna find a way to get in. They've been looking good. Really want to keep an eye out on that Cameron Brink injury and see what that does, because she is a spark plug for them defensively and offensively. But it's just like, I just hope injuries just don't become a theme with her throughout her pro career. But I like the Sparks potentially making a move. Although Washington is going to be interesting too, but I think Sparks sitting at 15 and 17, they can easily go on a 2-3 game stretch. They had a 5-game winning streak earlier this season. Well, actually, not too long ago. It was just recently snapped, but I think they have all the tools to make a push. Your thoughts, Willie?
Yeah, the battle for those last couple spots, man, is very interesting when you look at it, because even when you look at my Sparks, anybody that follows the show knows I'm a Sparks fan. To your point, the paying attention to what's going on with Cameron is really, really big. But I want to say this as well. Julie Alamont has been huge for the LA Sparks. Getting her back, her coming over and finally playing has been massive for them. It's been massive for Kelsey Plum, because it allows Kelsey to be what she naturally is. I can bring the ball up, I can get off the ball, not having all the primary ball handling responsibilities on Kelsey, because I think that takes away from her best, what she does best, which is absolutely killing people as a scorer. And so having Julie Alamont doing that and controlling everything as a point guard really, really helps the Sparks. I think it really initiates ball movement, because once you have a player that really is, because the thing about ball movement, I'll say this, and this isn't the case with Julie Alamont. This is the case with some players. Some players make a good pass because they refuse to shoot the ball because they are scared, right? They don't have that in their repertoire. This woman can shoot the ball as well. She's also a really good rebounder from the point guard position too. So with that being said, I think having her as a main cog and then also too having JVL, Julie Van-Loo, off the bench as another ball handler, up tempo, can shoot the ball, ain't scared of big moments also. I think that's another great pickup for the Sparks too. I think it really helps them as a team. So yeah, and I'll say this too, when you're talking about in particular the Sparks and the Mystics. When you're battling when you have young rookies, you can tell rookies, what's the phrase we always say? I can show you better than I can tell you. And especially when you're having rookies that are having success, or young players that are having success. In the case of the Mystics, of course, we got our rookie tandem, Kidron doing their thing. And then, of course, with the Sparks, you got, whether that's Ray Burrell, whether that's our girl Rakia Jackson, whether it's Cameron Brink when she's healthy, you have that influx of young players that are there too, that are making a run. You can always tell those players, hey, the playoffs are different. The playoff runs are different. But when they're killing the league, they're like, yeah, I hear you. But then when they see what the playoffs are like, when they see what that grind for the playoffs are like, it's great for rookie development moving forward. It's awesome for rookie development. So I think that's another thing to pay attention to as we move forward too, especially when you're looking at the Mystics, who have clearly chosen a direction to go with their young players. but those young players are actually getting meaningful games and they're not quote unquote tanking. They're in a playoff race. I think that's really valuable for the development of young players.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Getting to game recaps. Last night, we had Dallas at Indiana Fever, and of course, New York at Los Angeles. Didn't talk about this earlier because I wanted to spend time talking about it during this game, but Odyssey Sims was signed by the Indiana Fever.
Shout out, oh,
You know, when I thought about it, it was kind of a similar story as Ari McDonald. I mean, because Odyssey Sims has been a journeywoman throughout the WNBA, and
speaking of two former Sparks.
yeah, I mean it's tough though because like sometimes you never know what's going on behind the scenes or anything like that. Sometimes it comes down just to simple roster space and things of that nature, and guarantee players with guaranteed contracts and things of that nature. But she has been steady no matter where she's been. No different than McDonald. So I instantly like this pickup because I feel like she's going to provide some of the same things as McDonald. I mean, she plays tenacious defense on a defensive end, and she's what I call a combo guard because she can score and she can facilitate. She's an attacking guard, which is something that they need because right now, man, and this is what I was talking about. It's going to be a tough stretch for the Fever because you basically only have two guards on the entire roster.
Right,
Like, and
right.
that is going to be tough. I don't care how you put it. Like, I mean, it's because what it does is you're going to force players to play out of their comfort zone the majority of the time, or more than what they would like.
No question.
Um, and unfortunately, they fell last night to the Dallas Wings, 81-80. Lee Giroux had 20 points, 4 rebounds off the bench to go along with 2 steals. Maddie Segrist,
Hooping.
22 points, 5 rebounds, 3 for 5. And I want to give a special shout out to my homeboy Dante Dixon because I used to try to tell him, like I say, hey, man, Maddie can play, man. She just wasn't healthy. I said, but she can play. And had a good game last night. Paige Becker's 16 points, 8 assists. Didn't shoot the ball fairly well, but hey, like I said, Lee Giroux and Maddie really got it going. Maisha Hines Allen, 8 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists, 1 steal. You flip it over to the other side. Natasha
We
Howard.
got to talk about Zaza.
I'll let you get to that. I'll let you get to
Yeah.
that. I'm just setting it. I'm just setting the table, man. Setting the table.
Yeah.
Natasha Howard, 12 points, 12 rebounds, 2 steals, 3 blocks. Kelsey Mitchell, 24 points, 6 rebounds, shot 4 for 7 from three. Chloe Bibby off the bench with 11 points. Sophie Cunningham, 14 points, 2 for 4 from the three. Lexi Hall did not score, but did have 7 rebounds, 3 assists. And last but not least, Aaliyah Boston with 14 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 blocks. But like I said, this is going to be tough with only two guards on the entire roster. And we're talking about a team that's right now that's sitting at the 6th spot, not really knowing when Caitlin Clark may return. But those it's going to be tough because, like I said, we just talked about, if you just joining in, we were just talking about the playoff push. They're only pretty much a game and a half. They got probably a couple games ahead of some of those teams that's trying to get in. And that could easily you find yourself in a 3 or 4 game losing streak. You'd be out of the playoff picture in a heartbeat. But your thoughts, Willie, about the Fever and Dallas matchup?
It's interesting, man, because I think we talked about this before, and that's why I want to bring her up because you talked about it, man. Isaiah James, when she is hooping, Dallas is a different team. And I know they got something from Maddie, which was great because, to your point, even last year, Maddie was playing really well last year until she got hurt last year. Um, but they're different when they get really aggressive play from Isaiah James and JJ Quinterly. Dallas is a different team. So when they get something from those rookies, that's something that I really want to see more from down the stretch as we see um, what Dallas does in terms of trying to set their foundation. And I'll say this again. I know I said this a lot. I know when you're a big, you're in a dependent position, dependent upon people to give you the ball. I hate when people say with bigs, just get it off the glass, just get it off the glass, man. Get the bigs the ball. I say that because when Indiana has been successful and they've been winning, AB, Aaliyah Boston, has had big games. She's had big games when they've been winning when Caitlin is out. And so I need to see more from Aaliyah to continue to establish herself. And she it'll be up and down. She'll have these great games, and then again she'll have 13, 14 points, which is not bad. But Aaliyah Boston is an all-star. Aaliyah Boston is a really good player. She's one of the better young bigs in the NBA. So I just need, and again, she's also dependent upon people delivering her the ball. But I just want to see her to continue to take that to a different level when Caitlin Clark is out, man.
No, that's a valid point, especially when I'm pounding it into the ground about only having two guards on the roster, but you definitely can help your half court offense if you run it through Aaliyah Boston, who has shown this season that she's a proven passer and can make plays. So that's something that I think down the stretch it needs to be looked at and explored a lot more. It was a tough scene last night because they fought and came back. Had a chance to win it at the end. Didn't really get a good shot that they wanted before the final shot of the game. Stephanie White had called the last time out, which was a reset. But I felt like she should have called it earlier because once she seen her Kelsey Mitchell dribbling around and didn't have, just wasting time off the clock. But if you called it early on, let's say they would have got the ball and be able to inbounds with, 3 to 4, maybe 5 more seconds, you could have got a play call in before they inbounded and then, got something quick and better than what they had to settle for. But I like that call out about, getting Aaliyah Boston more involved and you probably got to play slower, a tad bit slower. Less threes, more attacking the rim. And that's the other thing, before we get to the Sparks in the Valkyries game is that I don't think you're always going to have a discrepancy in free throw attempts when you shoot more jump shots than the other team. That's just that's just the nature of the beast. Perimeter teams do not shoot more free throws than teams who attack the rim or throw it inside more. I mean, that's just common basketball knowledge. So that's something that you have to look at and take into account for as well, especially because, if we're being honest, without Caitlin Clark, before I even get to the Caitlin Clark part, you don't have McDonald, who was an attacker, who was great, being great in her role at facilitating and attacking the rim while doing it. She's gone. You only have Kelsey Mitchell now, and now you picked up Odyssey Sims. But beforehand, when the ball goes to anybody else, they're not constantly attacking the rim. Most of the time, like Sophie Cunningham is shooting spot up threes. Lexi Ho is shooting spot up threes with occasionally, with some backdoor cuts or maybe driving to the basket here and there. But that's not the staple of their game. So it does make a difference. A lot of other teams who play them, they're attacking the rim. And like I said, that's not saying that fouls are not being made or that they're not being called. But you typically tend to shoot more free throws or collect more fouls when you're being the aggressor. And that's all I'm saying. Golden State Valkyries defeated the LA Sparks 72-59. Golden State Valkyries, man. Tough team, man. Tough team. I think. I definitely am not going to count them out of the playoffs, and it's going to be a great accomplishment for an expansion team to make the playoffs in their first, in their inaugural season. Veronica Burton, 16 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, was 3 for 5 from the field. Janelle Salon, 11 points, 8 rebounds, 2 steals. Cecilia Zandalicini, 14 points, 3 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 4 for 6 from the 3. Those were the only 3 players in double figures, but you did have Carla Lee, who's been lethal off the bench. And it's crazy. She had 9 points, 3 rebounds, was 1 for 1 from the 3. But I'm saying a lot of these names, and most of these are rookies. like that don't really get talked about a lot, but I mean they're contributing heavy to their team, but are rookies. And then didn't even want to expand on it too much, but Phoenix has a handful of rookies that's been playing really well from them from beginning to end. Now I will say this: most of the rookies, especially the foreign players, probably why you won't hear any talks or have them too much in the conversations because they missed a lot of games, Euro basketball and things of that nature. So obviously, you don't always you don't include them, but they have been playing really well. And then I do want to give a shout out to Ileana Rubert. She's been playing well for the Valkyries since she's returned from France. So I really think Golden State, man, they're going to be pretty solid, and I think they probably get in the playoffs. It's going to be, like I said, that 6 to 8 spot is going to be interesting to see where we at in a couple of weeks. Now, on the other hand, you had Derek Hamby with 15 points, 3 rebounds, and then you had Julie Alemán who had 10 points, and then Ray Burrell had 10 points. Those were the only Sparks to score the double figures. When you look at it, Kelsey Plum shot 1 for 9 from the field, only scored 4 points. Rakia Jackson, 3 for 10, 8 points. When you start looking at it down the line, it kind of told the story because the Sparks, when they're playing well, Kelsey Plum, Rakia Jackson, Azurah Stevens, and Derek Hamby, they all are putting in work. Most of the time when they're winning and playing well, they're all contributing heavy. And last night was not the case. Your thoughts, A. Willie?
This was a tough one for me to watch because everybody, again, I'm a Sparks fan, but everybody also knows that I am a Veronica Burton fan. And I ain't new to this being a Veronica Burton fan. So, again, hashtag point guard life, man. Like, we got to talk about Veronica Burton being the most improved player this year. And I think we really got to have a conversation about that because she is playing amazingly well. I think when you watch that Sparks and Valkyries game was very, very fun to watch because you got both teams that really thrive on up tempo. Both teams really thrive on the ball hopping around. Both of these teams play like from an offensive perspective. They don't care who gets the credit. There's not a problem sharing the ball. But the thing that we got to start mentioning about the Valkyries, when you got players that have a high basketball IQ and they're willing to defend, they're going to be very, very tough to beat. And you look at the Valkyries from top to bottom, they are high IQ players. They can function with some players can function both with the ball in their hands, off the ball, and they all defend. And that's the thing when you start looking at when you start naming those shooting percentages from the players on my Sparks, it's because the Valkyries defend. They gonna get in you. So it's a very entertaining game to watch. And like I said, man, of course I'm a Sparks fan, but I am a Veronica Burton fan, and like I said, I am not new to this.
No, because you had to, I mean, when she was taken by the Valkyries, I used to give her hell when she was on the Connecticut Sun because I just wasn't seeing it. And you told me, like, man, she can play. And obviously, that's been one of the themes in the WNBA with players that when they leave one franchise and go to another and playing extremely well. I mean, environments matter, schemes matter. How the coach want to utilize them matters. And I think that's really something that we've seen from a lot of different players who've been playing in multiple uniforms throughout this season. Even when you think about Dejanay Carrington going from the Dallas Wings to the Minnesota Lynx, not all she has to do is be a star in her role, and it makes them a more powerful team than what they already were. And even if anybody in last week's game, if you listen to the post game by Kayla McBride, she said, "Hey man, I don't have to guard the best team's player anymore on the perimeter. Like now, Dejanay Carrington is there, and you know what that does? That keeps Kayla McBride fresh to knock down shots, and those type things matter. So now, even when you look at the Valkyries roster, you got Letitia Amihere, who's been a journey, been in and out of the league, played for the Dream, didn't really pan out there, had zero success, but now she's been playing well for the Valkyries. They have a team of players that, Timmy Fagbenley plays sparingly for the Fever. She's been a starter for the Valkyries and playing really well. Like you said, Veronica Burton is around 10, 5, and 5 with with one steal per game, basically. So you've seen, a lot of players moving around that's playing a lot better in another uniform, and that tends to happen. Before we get out of here, just tonight's matchups. You got the Chicago Sky at the Connecticut Sun, 7 p.m. start Eastern time. You got Golden State Valkyries and Washington, which is a prime game to watch because Washington needs this to keep their hopes alive. Golden State needs it to stay in contention and making the playoffs. So that's probably what I'll have my eye on at 7:30. But then at 9:30, you had the New York Liberty and Las Vegas Aces on ESPN. And then at 10 p.m., you had Atlanta Dream and Seattle Storm, which is another one because the Storm cannot afford to keep dropping games. And me and you, it's already a storm brewing in Seattle. As mentioned, it came out about a lot of players requesting trades and different things like that. You have to wonder about the locker room. And what I will say before we get out of here, just my spiel, is that we only see what's in front of us. You don't see everything behind the scenes. You don't know everything that's going on. And that can be good or bad. Things doesn't always have to be negative. It can be a lot of good going on behind the scenes that just doesn't transfer onto the court. But most often than not, when you have a really good team like Seattle, and they're not by any stretch of the imagination really playing up to par, you have to think that something is going on. And a lot of things are coming out. Who knows? A lot of more things that come out. But I have to think Noel Quinn is on the hottest seat in the WNBA right now.
Yeah.
So
let me ask you this. I'll ask you this, family. Okay, of course we're assuming full health for everybody. Everybody's at full strength. Is Seattle the third most talented team in the WNBA?
yeah, if we went player, if you go player for player, yes. It's shocking to me because even when you're talking talent, you're talking experience, all of it. It's shocking to me that they sitting 16. This has been the theme for the last 2-3 years. Like they've sitting around that 500 mark. Or even when they haven't been at the 500 mark, they play like a 500 team. And it's just mind-boggling that they haven't had any consistency of putting a stretch of games together on a regular basis to look and be a premier team and a W. And it's just shocking. Like,
Do you think player for player, they're more talented than Minnesota.
Player, yes.
So that, yeah,
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 if we talking
yeah,
player for player, yes. But then if you break it down and get a little bit more detailed, if we're talking about continuity and game planning and schemes and players uh, playing the max in their role, no. Like I
right,
mean, but yeah, I
right,
think I think individually, player for player, they are better.
yeah, yeah,
Now with it, yeah, because even if you think about it, if we just Nafisa Collier is of course the X factor, but Seattle has a Hall of Famer on their team too, and Neka Agumake. So
facts, yeah,
players start,
MVP and all that,
yeah,
champion, yeah,
players start
yeah,
canceling each other out. When if you had to compare Skylar Diggins and Courtney Williams, if you take Kayla McBride and Erica Willer, it's hit or miss. Of course, Kayla is not probably she's the better shooter, but player for player, you can give or take a little bit when Erica Willer is playing well. But you look at Ezzy
McAvoy,
McMagor and Gabby Williams, and you compare them to the Carlton and those players. Like it seemed like a fair fight. Like
yeah,
so, but
Slim and Tom,
that's the
woo,
other thing. Yeah, now with Brittany Sykes on the Seattle roster, I mean, they probably made that move a little bit too late, but we'll see how that pans out. Because, like I said, with Brittany Sykes going to Seattle, she does give them something that they did not have. Gabby Williams is probably the closest thing to being a wing that can put pressure on the defense to score, but that's not always Gabby's game. Like Gabby is really a phenomenal two-way player, but she is not a wing player that you think of when we need a bucket. Like we're not designing or just giving her the ball and say go get a bucket. Now Slim can do that, so
right,
I think that's going to help them. And then also Slim can play the two. You talking about? I mean, they're a much bigger lineup. You talking about with her at the two, with Gabby at the three, and Ezzy at the four, and Neck at the five, or switch to however you want to do it. I ultimately think that makes them a better team. I mean, Erica Willer has been playing solid, but when you talk about a true shooting guard, and you want to slide Sykes in there, you're good to go. But even for them now, Dominique Malonga has been playing really
oh
well.
yeah,
Been 20 and 10 the last, double doubles in the last two games, playing really well. And it looks like she belongs. And they need as much firepower off the bench as possible. And I think that's why probably Slim will stay there, you know, because that's been the norm for them, and having Erica Willer and Skylar Diggins in the backcourt. But, yeah, it's like I said, these last 10 to 13 games that's left for a lot of teams is going to be something to see as we start looking at how the playoff picture starts to look. Hey, Willie, before we get out of here, you got anything you want to get off your chest?
man, I got a lot of it off when I was talking about how that yeah, let the officials officiate, and then let me say this, um, as we talk about these coaches and things, there is whenever we live in a culture where if things don't work immediately, got to be somebody to blame, right? That's how it works. And there's been a lot of talk about we haven't even gotten through a full season yet. And there's been a lot of talk about maybe Indiana should move on from Stephanie White. And we just got started. B, Caitlin Clark has missed what, like half the season? And you like, yeah, we should go on and move on from that right away. Let this team develop. Let's see, give us a really good sample size before we start making these assumptions because y'all are looking for somebody to blame when things don't microwave oven work immediately.
I hear you, man, and it's funny because I'm a big college football fan as far as the video game, college football. The new game is out right now. I run a couple of dynasty leagues. Me and my partner run a big dynasty league, and
I can't
The-
mess with y'all in that. I go up.
but this is the thing, because in reference to like fans and their teams, when you're playing the dynasty mode at a college football game, every year ain't your year. Like it's not your year. You're gonna have windows where you do good recruiting, players develop good, and you're gonna have a window whether you make a move or not. And if you don't, sometimes you just miss that window, and now you gotta wait probably another 2 or 3 years before you build up a team that can compete.
Right.
Now, that's not any different than any sports franchise. Sports franchises have windows where, like, hey, we got to make moves to go get it now, or we probably never going to see it again. And some teams are not even in that window, but people try to put them in that window. Like, i.e., the Indiana Fever are not there yet. Like, they're if anything, I would say they're ahead of schedule, considering everything that they done had to deal with from all the injuries. And anytime your star player it goes down, I'm here to say that it does not make your team better. I don't like all the people who saying the Indiana Fever get better because Caitlin Clark is not playing. Like, come on, man. Like, come on. Yeah. That's not it, man. Good teams have great players. Well, great teams have good players who play together. Like, and Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark play off each other perfect. And when one of them is not there, maybe if you take Kelsey Mitchell away, they're not better. You take Caitlin Clark away, they're not better. So, like, and put that in any scenario with any team. You take Nafisa Collier off Minnesota, they are not better. Even though they winning, they're not better.
Not at all.
So, like, you got to take that out the window. What I'm saying, people are putting certain teams in windows as if they're contenders, and they're not. Like, right now, teams are making steps. I think Atlanta Dream made great moves and getting good play out of players and moving in the right direction. 'Cause although they've been behind the 8 ball for some years now. So they got a great coach in Smetsko, who I think is going to be probably – he could easily be up there for – they went out pretty good this last stretch. He could easily be coach of the year. But they're making strides to get into that window. But currently right now, it's still the New York Liberty, the Minnesota Lynx, and I'd say the Las Vegas Aces. Like, I mean, it only takes them. Hey, it only takes a minute for any team to get hot on a stretch. And if you talk about a team, when you start talking about teams getting hot, if you talking about the Aces, which is a veteran-laden team that's been accustomed to winning, they only got, when you get to the playoffs, things slow down. You only got it. You have to win X amount of games in a series to move on. And that makes it a lot different than playing and trying to win games on a every other night basis or back-to-back basis or whatever. So with that being said, it's still a 2-team league right now until somebody steps up and changes that. But I think
that's you.
it should be. But
Right.
I'm saying, like, it's teams that's not in the window yet. And I think they're making great pushes. And we're seeing a lot of good things, but a lot of fans put unwarranted expectations on their team and then want to, like you said, they want to find every excuse or every blame to why it didn't happen. And sometimes it just ain't their time. And you know what? With that being said, that's our time. I want to thank everybody who stopped by. My son, Marquez, he stopped in for a second. We'll be back at it. We started earlier today because I didn't want to be live during the game. I think the first game is at 7. So I wanted to tap into that. Thanks for tuning in. And like I said, if you don't remember anything, just always remember why we are here. We are here to laugh, show love, promote, talk sports, movies, joke, and troll. Catch us on the next episode.